What up, creators? Before we hop into this episode, I want to remind you about our community at jointhehomies.com. The homies are the squad of legends who support what we do here at Black With No Cream so we can continue to build this platform into the best educational space for content creators on earth. And in return for that support, we give you a bunch of sick perks all month long, like access to our live stream tutorials and hangouts, bonus podcast episodes, and so much more. Check us out at jointhehomies.com. Let's go! And we are back with another morning roast edition of the Black With No Cream podcast, where every Wednesday morning we deep dive into creative topics with the goal of giving you your daily dose of motivation and inspiration. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World. This is my co-host, Dave Malave. What the fuck is up, Dave?
What's up, homie?
Nothing. Today's topic. You already saw it. You read it. It's a fire topic name. We stand Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Will Smith. He's changed the game for, honestly, in all the high tier. If you look at like celebrities that have reached max peak of celebrity, most of them don't really go to social media. But then you have people like Will Smith, Dwayne Johnson, like attacking social media with the new strategy, which I think has changed the game for, how they kind of stay relevant in this culture where, quick bite-sized content is so needed. But we're going to get into that. If this is your first time tuning in the podcast, you're probably wondering,
what the fuck is Black With No Cream?
Great question. Black With No Cream is the illest educational resource for content creators fueled by caffeine. Or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We have thousands of members from all around the world working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our private group if you want to by going to bwnc.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. And without further ado, I bring to you this morning roast episode in the second most epic podcast intro ever created. Right, motherfucking
Welcome to the morning roast, a place where you will get the most info from a deep dive into the topics that really need life with your host, Ben and Dave, coming to you live today. Grab your cup of joe and take some fucking notes, you bitch.
Before we get into We Stand Will Smith, which we do, last episode, Sunday's release, big deal, 150 episodes with Ashley Everett. That was our 150th. That's a big milestone. Dave just told me he doesn't think that's a big milestone.
No, I think it's definitely a big milestone. I'm just saying, like, he was like, we didn't celebrate it. I'm like, I don't know if we need to celebrate it.
I feel like we gotta celebrate it because it's like 150. That's a shit ton of pocket. Dude, we sit here and talk a lot.
Yeah, we do.
You know what I mean? And then have a lot of guests, and that's a lot of orchestrating, just getting these busy ass people. And now we're getting like, they're bigger and bigger or whatever, so it's like harder to orchestrate. Like, I've been trying to get Blue the Great on here, and that motherfucker is like impossible to schedule with. He's like, yo, I'm here and I gotta go to London though on the 23rd. And then he's like invisible for like 3 days. And then I see that he's just been painting in his office forever. And I'm just like, damn. So 150, it's pretty good. I'm pretty, it's exciting. But the episode's fire. Ashley is Beyonce's dance captain. She has been for 15 years? 15. 12? 13.
Like 12. No, she's been dance captain for like 11 or 10, but she's been dancing with her for like 12 years or something.
Gang of years. So a lot of experience. She's done like 2 Super Bowls. She's done a million music videos, toured the world a billion times. Her experience in that world is incredible. So it's a solid episode. Make sure to tune into that. There's no other current events, is there?
Nope.
I like to call it current events. Did you ever have current events when you were in?
No, I call it that too. Yeah, we got to keep people updated.
Did you have a geography class? Did you do current events in like all your classes? I feel like my only geography, I had a geography class.
If you had like history,
yeah,
like U.S. history, and then part of it was like current events, and you got to like write about it or something.
Shit was always my favorite. I'd be like, hey, did you guys know 9/11 just happened? They're like, yeah, Ben, we all had that talk like 2 days ago. I'm like, damn. That's me trying to show out for current events.
Did you know 9/11 happened?
Yeah, did you guys hear about?
Yes, it was a national tragedy.
Did you hear about that? It's pretty crazy. All right. Anyway, Will Smith, man. Fresh Prince, you get hooked there. Then you start exploring the films. Big fan.
Yeah, I'll go see every movie with Will Smith in it. That's a fact.
That is a fact, huh?
Like, even like,
you see Gemini?
I saw Aladdin.
You saw Aladdin?
And like, I fuck with Disney, but so I probably would have saw it anyways. But I saw it because of Will Smith, and it was trash, but it was only good, kind of, because of Will Smith. You know what I
Damn.
mean?
Right.
But I Am Legend.
It's crazy if he listens to this and just hears you say that Aladdin was trash, bro. How do you feel?
It's not his fault. I literally said he's the only good part of the movie.
No, I heard it didn't get a lot of good reviews. I didn't see it. I didn't see Aladdin, but
he was the best. Like, if he wasn't in it, that movie would have been horrible.
the hype for that film was because of him. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
he's able to turn that shit all
honestly,
the way up.
that's probably the point of what we're gonna get to. I think in this episode.
Yeah.
I think at this point he's always been he's a superstar. He's been premier, but now his ability to like utilize social media. When you attach Will Smith to a film, you're getting more than just Will Smith and his name. You're getting like the press runs even the press run they're doing for Bad Boys, like the content they're creating. They get Stephen A. Smith, a sports super big sports commentator. They get that other guy they did a TV spot with. They're going into different places and creating content where like it's a new wave of kind of promoting movies.
Yeah, it's if you think about like Will doing a film 8 years ago, it would have been a normal press junket where you like going around, you're hitting the rounds of London and blah blah blah. You hit all the major cities across the entire planet and show up with your cast, and you go and do the red carpets and you do the little Q&As.
The press run the Q&As
and then those little clips get shared and everyone wants to hear it, and you go on Today's Show and you go on all this, you know what I mean? And they still do that, but he's able to add a whole nother wing to it with such an immediate reach, a quick reach, and it's constant, and you don't get annoyed by it because it's not the same thing. Imagine if you were getting, like, you watched, all right, he like hits you with Bad Boys trailer, right? Trailer comes out and you've been targeted. So cool, you watch the trailer, you're like, damn, this looks dope. And then what if everything he posted was always that trailer or a rendition of that trailer? You would get bored as fuck.
Yeah, you'd be like, stop bothering me.
Jesus Christ. But he's able to go and recreate little moments or go somewhere, or like Dwayne Johnson, who is another elite person at doing this shit, like will pull up with Kevin Hart at some random person's wedding, and they can make like a 5-minute video and you're immediately just like, oh, that's kind of fun. And it's low key promoting Jumanji, but high key, it's just a cool little viral moment that they were able to create.
Just promoting that you can go like experience them in a movie. You know what I mean? I think it's, imagine just posting a photo of the trailer, but instead like just the 2 posts ago or whatever on his page, if you look, it's like this, some creator made like a VFX clip where there's a hand holding them two, and then their heads are like bobbing and moving in space and stuff, and then it loops perfect.
Darren, can you add this to the
add it on top?
Dave's showing this.
And it's just like a next level, and I think those things are super shareable. They have 3.2 million views.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're loopable, and people are sending that to like their friends. Oh, check this out, it's all cool.
Right.
And underlying that is all the fact that you're aware as fuck that Bad Boys is coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see it, and I've been aware that it's coming out, and I keep seeing things that are like catching my attention.
I think everyone knew it was about to go down when he like came to, I think he went to Ellen, and that's when he was like, yo, I'm joining Instagram, and then Ellen like did a whole thing, and he had like 1 million followers like in 5 seconds or something obnoxious. And I feel like that keeps happening with all these different actors. They're like, guys, guess what, I'm here.
He's setting the standard though, for sure.
He is. Bradley Cooper just did it, where Bradley Cooper's like, hey, I'm on Instagram, I'm gonna be real with you and all this shit, and he like announced it somehow, and then everyone went crazy and he got a gang of followers.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you do that, that's one thing, but then the special part about it is that he's adapted, especially like with what's the company that he works with?
Westbrook. That's like his people.
Yeah, tying in Westbrook, and then Westbrook being on the prowl, and even Will like being on the prowl for new talent that's creating like new styles of creativity on social.
Yeah,
he's just being willing to attach himself to that, and we know firsthand from talking to Ari and Cash Bunny, and like just in me having worked with Westbrook on that thing with Jada, it's like you meet the people and they're like very down to try shit, right? And I think that willingness to try shit, being willing to like, when he started doing the YouTube stuff and he was making vlogs, he's climbing on top of like bridges and drone and all this shit he'll do, and that's probably takes
down
time
for the idea.
He's down, even if it takes a little bit of time out of his day, he's willing to give it up because he knows the end result's going to be powerful for his play and his brand overall.
Right. And I feel like the coolest thing is his willingness and like understanding that he should just let the creative, like young creatives, people that are hustling, like if they have cool ideas, just like open himself up to it and be a part of it. And that's turning into all this content, because it's like, instead of, he's like the biggest star in the world, he could probably be like, no, I want the video to be like this, or no, I want to do this. He's just like, him and Westbrook, they seem to be so open to like creatives coming up with ideas, and they take small amount of time, and he's down and he's energetic, and it's like providing life to these videos. Whereas like, before, to work with these big celebrities, you would have to like go through an agency or do a brand campaign or something, you know what I mean? Something so big, and it's like touchy. This guy, he's just down to just like goof around. He's down for his head to come off. He's down for him to be flying through like space, like, you know what I mean? Or make fun of himself on videos. And it's all a testament to like these creatives he's putting around himself, and a lot, like building a team of these kids that are coming around. And there's a guy named Aiden that there's Josh, JAS. Yeah, he's on it. He creates. He's the one that did that drone on top of the bridge. Right. That was him. A bunch of these kids they're killing it.
And the beauty of it is like that you put the creators on they've created like a pseudo agency, because before you'd have to like, you know, the talent would go to a company, the company would have the reps would tell them like, okay, cool, we have all these people, do you want to work with any of them? Or they'll say, all right, we'll let our team submit on it and put like in proposals and ideas and shit, where the process is way longer. It takes way longer to get the thing to come to life. You know what I mean? Oh, we got to organize this, or someone's got to put a deck together and all this shit, where you have like stories like Cash saying at, what was it, at Coachella, they're able to just say, oh, cool, we may have a slot of time, like Will's minutes. A fan of the work, like stuff, can you make something within like a 15-minute window? And they were able to be like, all right, cool, what's our example? Let's just shoot it and make a mock, and now we know what the mock looks like, so we can just show them real quick on the phone and then try to get it done within that 15-minute window. And it was that easy for them when Will and Jada show up, and they're just like, so what do you want to do? And they're like, this. Just stand here. Oh, cool. I want to have fun. I want to dance. I want to do this. And they
bring it to life.
And they brought it to life. And it took them minimum like less than 15 minutes. I think was even shorter than 15 minutes. They were able to get all these little takes off. And then Ari and Cash hit the computers and just make that shit look wild. And they post it on their socials, and no one's seen anything like that yet. And it booms. Yeah. But if you would have had to sit there and submit that amongst a bunch of other creatives that are submitting ideas that are full of a bunch of extra words that you don't need to read and all this shit, and it takes too long to explain the idea.
Yeah, and there's like a VP that has to look it over and say, oh, this isn't the brand.
This isn't Will. Will wouldn't like this. Like then that's how shit just dies. Like the creative dies. But what they're able to do is go direct to consumer being the creative, and allow them to just have a space to try what they would do with their friends and make something cool that would go unnoticed because they don't have the cloud or whatever,
and put take Will on it.
Yeah. Game over. So you see Will doing shit with like random animators, and he's not even
people overseas and stuff.
And there's like making wild digital crunchy shit and all this wild stuff, and it's nothing. But for him, it's literally I mean, this is also the thing about it, and I think a lot of celebrities don't understand. You post the shit, it does what it does, and in 22 hours, it is irrelevant. You know what I mean? People will remember it and use it for mood boards later on, but after that, they're waiting for the next thing you post. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks have passed, you post 6 things, and the thing that you post, the first thing, the 6th thing that you've posted since then, is no one's thinking about it. But when people sit there and fucking overanalyze shit and waste all this time trying to, is this a bit, and then they post it, it's like, damn, like you just wasted so much time. But really, the true fact is it'll make a splash as long as it has like a quality to it and it fits within his reign of like what his brand is. It'll do well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they like, you know, we talk about this all the time, but these videos arguably are more impactful now than the 1 minute that no one's watching, because everyone's attention spans are so short. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like the 15-second crazy thing where he's, you know, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are in someone's hand and they're jumping around, like that's like, wow, I just shared it to like 5 friends, or I shared it to my group of 20 friends. They all watched it. They shared it to someone else. It's you watch it like 3 times in a row because you're trying to figure out what happened. Right. And all of that is more engaging and like a network effect than the 2-minute piece or the 1 minute full-on video that you created, which is also like there's avenues for everything. On Instagram there's that, and then he has the YouTube where it's some longer, like more in-depth, you get to see behind the scenes of his life, but it's also fun. And
but it's crazy too how people's time is so valuable, and with the short form shit, it could be enough to convince you, like you saying, oh, I just shared this with 3 of my homies, right? You watch a video that's 16 seconds or 25 seconds or whatever, it's on Instagram, it's hilarious. You send it over to the homie who's like, when they click the link, if that link says 2.5 minutes or whatever, and it's like an IGTV story, they may not have that time. But if they're taking a piss real quick and they open up their phone and see your DM and they like click it open, they're like 18 seconds, boom, you watch it, and then you're kind of like laughing at whatever the bit was, and you're like, damn, those guys look like they have fun. I want to go see them on the, like that just may may have been the bait to get you to go to the theater because you just saw them in this little thing that was funny or whatever, relatable or whatever it is, that made your friend share it to you, which is already like someone validating that these people are gold. And then that's like convincing you to say, I'm going to go to the theater. You know what I mean? Like just that alone makes you want to go to the theater. Like, and you don't know where your influence is going to come from. So it could be those social bit contents. Like
it's subconscious, I feel like, but that's why it's cool. Cause there's so many things that are coming out that it's like more of like an onslaught. Like I've been seeing Bad Boys on my feed often.
Right.
So it's like, I'm aware that the movie's coming out, which is like half the battle, because the movies come out, you don't know. So you're aware, you're paying attention, and you're seeing this content, you're like, oh, that's funny. Like, I need to go see that. Yeah, I fuck with Bad Boys. And then now I've been thinking, like, I should go see it.
Yeah.
And is that because I saw one clip? No, I think it's because of they're just hitting you with stuff, and all of it's not like promo-y. So it's almost like, even if I didn't watch it, like, I'm enjoying the content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We did this video, shout out to Gilead. He, what was that for? What was the app for? I can't remember what it was. The homie pulled up and shot this video about me, which was, and he just showed me a rough cut. It was really cool. But he is a director and made this series for Tom Brady. He's worked with Tom a bunch. And one of the things that we were talking about in the idea of making short form content, he directed an EA campaign that I was actually trying to direct too. I don't remember what it was, but it was with Tom Brady, and I was pitching a bunch of ideas for what Tom Brady's video could be, and he ended up doing one. He ended up doing one, and shit was really funny. And it was like in an office, and it was just a bunch of lines, wild lines coming from Tom Brady and whatever, and it's like a 3-minute video. And when we were talking about that, Tom was talking to him about how he loves the fact that he didn't have to be there all day long. Like, he literally walked in, everything was set, the idea was great enough that all he had to do is give an hour of his time, and he walks in, shoots that shit, and he's like, man, that is crazy. Like, that wasn't a 16-hour day. I have to sit in a trailer and wait around. And when you're top tier talent, Tom Brady or Will Smith or whoever it is, the biggest problem is that at a certain point, they're so famous and they've made so much money where a bag isn't even really worth their time to like go sit and make a campaign for name brand, whoever the brand is. If it's like, well, fuck, it's a great idea and it would be funny, but 16 hours, fuck, I really want to go home and like hang out with my kids or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It becomes invaluable. That money is not worth it to a lot of people anymore.
Right.
So the fact that you're able to create something that literally only takes minimal amount of time from a day from someone so famous like that is incredible. So it's like with Rob Gronkowski for the other EA thing, we had 1 hour with him. Literally, we were only given an hour. What I was able to create out of that hour was like multiple forms of content, and Gronk the whole time is just like laughing, having a blast, and he thinks it was great, and he wanted to stay longer because it was just fun. But we were able to make multiple, all right, cool, I have 15 minutes in this space. I just need him to say this, and the video is complete. If we get over here, I need to do this, and that's it. And for them to be able to come in, knock that shit out of the park, that's it. They don't think about it, and then 4 weeks later they're seeing, or the next day, whatever the video is, they see the final product, and it's great. And that's the easiest shit to do, especially coming from the age where it takes days, sometimes weeks, to make campaigns. And you look at the Super Bowl, like some of those commercials they'll spend months making that shit, and it's for a 30-second window that's going to happen one night. And I guarantee you other creators are going to drop shit the same night on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever, and they're going to get crazier impressions. Like, they'll be able to find a way to get crazier impressions because people are low-key searching for Super Bowl commercials anyway before this motherfucker even starts, and they're going to find these creators' versions of this shit, and it's going to be incredibly engaging. You know what I mean? But I just thought that was an interesting theory of how people like Tom are stoked when he worked with Ari, and they made that cool little like football video to promote like 20 years in the game or whatever it was, and how it took him like 20 minutes to do it. And he's like, we gotta keep doing these, you know what I mean? Because it's like, that's fucking awesome. Like, and the videos are crazy. Like, the time comes in the editing.
They're getting like more of a reaction than possibly there's place for everything, but possibly more than like, the voiceover 1 minute video where he's telling you like, one more game left, like fight, you know what I mean? Like, and
you're watching it with the sound off at work.
Yeah. Or like, you're just like, you're 50 seconds in, you're like, fuck it, I'll scroll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how many times I'm in my feed and I'm just like, I'll start to watch a video for the first 10 seconds and then I'll scroll away and I'll be like, wait, why did I do that? I'll scroll back and watch it.
Yeah.
Because literally reflex. Or like stories, I'm like tapping before I even like knowing what I'm watching, and then I'm like, why did I do? I always catch myself like that's the reflex, and that's how people act.
Well, today I was scrolling through Black with No Cream on the feed in the Facebook group, and there was some dude posted the funniest shit. It was like this guy who like basically says like, yo, if you're like fearful that your editing isn't that good, no, it could always be worse. And he shows this Netflix film where it's called who posted it? Alfie Jones 3 posted this in the Facebook group, but it's called Black and Privilege, and he just shows like the beginning of this film and how bad the editing was because everything was like out of order and all this shit. And
There's
it was
no continuity.
There was no continuity, and it was just really funny to watch him react to the video like as he's explaining it. But it was like a minute and a half, and the first time I watched it, I honestly didn't even finish it. And then when I showed you, we kept watching it, and it kept getting funnier the last like 30 seconds that I didn't watch. And it's crazy because my time to focus was like a minute, which is so funny. The whole video was a minute and a half, but I gave up at a minute, and I already knew it was funny enough that I wanted to show you again. And I could have just shown you that minute, but we watched the whole thing, and I was like, damn, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's how we are trained.
The end was the funniest. Shout out to that video. It was hilarious.
Shit was hilarious. But it just goes to show like the ability to create this content around minimal effort or low lifts is what's appealing. For the talent is what's
consumable for the people.
Yeah.
I think also, I guess our last topic is kind of like why I think this is important, because we could just sit here and talk about Will, but I think it's dope because we definitely know that other artists are taking notice. Mm-hmm. Not artists, other people in the industry are taking notice. Like you talk to anyone that cares about content, everyone knows that Will Smith is doing the thing right now. Right. You know what I mean? Or has been for a while. And now it's like artists, or not artists, like actors, athletes, other people, their management are figuring out how can we make content for our people like this. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I do think it's dope for creators because it's can you come up with really ill, there's people that I follow in concert stuff that are doing ill stuff. We watched a guy Rolling Loud who like shot a clip and came back and started animating the clip into like a 3D photo thing.
Yeah,
you know what awesome. I mean? Like those type of ideas are really coming out right now, where it's like you can bring that to a talent, and whether it's like an athlete or an artist or whatever, and be pitching ideas like this and kind of get ahead of the curve, I think, on like your value, because you can be a photographer, a videographer, and make videos, but you can also, what if you're turn around that night and by the next morning you're not supposed to have content for them, but you come up and say, hey, look at this, and that video goes crazy, right? And then you know what I mean, like we just talked to Joe, I guess by this time Joe Larkin will come out next week, right? But he works for he shoots for Diplo, and he was talking about how like some of those viral moments that they would create we're just like, oh, how can we make a moment out of this? And it was something like short, maybe it's a photo or a video. Yeah. And thinking like that differently, like, is kind of, I think, what the summary of this is like Will Smith's page, you go and looking at it, and it's like, we can all be thinking different about what type of content we could be creating, and how can we be turning things around quicker and being creative and showing that, because I do think like people are more receptive to those types of ideas now. They're not gonna know what it is. You have to show them, right? You know what I mean? You have to go up to the person you're working for and be like, what if we did this? Show them on their phone, like, and there's like value to be had there, I feel like. Well, and
you just have to think of it in the same way of how pitches have worked from the beginning of time anyway. Like you would normally be able to say, all right, cool, for this photo shoot or for this album artwork cover, we're gonna take Nicki Minaj and put her in a jungle, and she's gonna be wet, and she's gonna be in a puddle, and it's gonna be muddy, and blah 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 blah. And to me, I may be thinking of it one way, you may be thinking of it another way. But then when we crack open the PDF that is the actual pitch deck, you'll see moody colors, and it'll be like, this is the color, this is the vibe, this is the hue, this is where she'll be at, this is where the camera could be positioned, this is what type of tree I'm gonna use, this is literal props that we're gonna actually rent for this shoot. You know what I mean? And then you make fucking Anaconda. I have no idea why I'm thinking like that was the first artwork or whatever I was thinking of, but that's how you would show what that is. And it's easy, sometimes it's like you get there, and to be able to try to verbally explain it just never makes sense.
Right. It's not gonna
sometimes click. It's impossible to actually make something that could reference what your idea is, and you just need them to be there. But in those cases, and if you don't think they're gonna like be down, and we're just saying this as a general thing, if you're working with talent or if you're working with a brand, if they're just not going to be down to try it because it doesn't fucking make sense, the best thing you can do is try to make a mock of it. Like literally go shoot it once. And I think I love talking about Cash and Ari, but if you go listen to their episodes, that's how they get jobs. It's like they'll literally make up mocks of the shoe floating through space and whatever.
Like she'll go in her backyard and
shoot it with her Vans and then pitch it to Puma and be like, this is what it could look like. And they're like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean?
But they're not going to get it if you're like, I'm going to put your shoe and it's going to be 3D and it's going to be 360 and it's going to be look like it's floating in space.
Right.
And like, they're going to be like, oh, this seems hard.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's going to look like this, but imagine your shoe.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, sweet. And it's going to only take this amount of time. Cool.
And that's how you can make it be a little more clear, I guess, to someone that's trying to purchase. But overall, I think when we go back to Will, the coolest part is that he's been able to put creatives on and allow them to elevate it too, in the sense of like Cash saying that her and Ari getting tagged by Will and Will personally calling them out on his Instagram of fucking millions of followers and saying like, yo, these two are ill at making cool shit. Like he literally said that. That's all it is. It's a cosign. And if you think back, like how important it was for like radio stations and all these people to try to get cosigns by these artists, like, yo, what up? It's Jay-Z and I fucking love Hot 97 or whatever. And then for them, that's like that's an amazing tag. You can use that over and over again. You can go to a concert and be outside talking to people and play that soundbite, and people are like, wow, Jay cosigns this. I love this station. Being able to get the cosign will do a lot for you. And for them specifically, Cash saying like, yo, my inbox was flooded. Like as soon as that happened, everyone wanted me to make shit for them, and it became a problem because I couldn't do the jobs. I had to turn mad jobs down because I can't do all of them. And that's what the power of that cosign is. So it's cool to see people like Dwayne Johnson, people like like Will and like whoever, to be able to go and elevate, even like Jade and all them. They all are in that pool of like creating this content around creativity and being able to show what it can do for others and how it can be shareable as fuck because it's so catchy. And they're the ones, they're just like, oh cool, we have a platform, let's just put these people on, you know? Shit's dope. Shout out to them for that. That's why we stand Will Smith.
That's it.
That's why we fucking stand Will Smith. As y'all know, we end all of these morning roasts with the question of the day from our Patreon community. So if you want to have a chance to have your question asked on the podcast, sign up now at jointhehomies.com and ask your question in our private Discord channel. Today's comes from our boy Nick. Nick says he's got a question that maybe kind of answered before, but I know it's important to have a work/out of work balance, but when is it the right or wrong time to pick a bag over memories with family and friends? He gives an example. He said, I go on this trip with friends yearly to this car show in the mountains of Georgia to hang out with people I only get to see maybe once or twice a year, but I was asked to shoot an event the same weekend and the client is already a headache. I'm still at the point of my career where I should be saying yes to every gig, but this is a hard one, especially since the bag won't pay for most of my bills that month. Haha. I'll right out the gate, I'll tell you this. And Dave, I think, had to deal with this too. I'm trying to remember when, but I know I think we've had this conversation before. When I was at my parents' house, sleeping in the basement and trying to figure out my life, and I would make money with video shit. I didn't have much money to begin with anyway, and I would just use it to pay my bills while I made music and all this stuff. And two of my friends were getting married and did this whole joint bachelor party thing where the whole squad went out to Vegas and got a hotel and raged for like 4 days. And it was our first like bachelor party for the homies because they were like the first ones to ever get married. And I didn't go. I was already tempted not to go because I didn't have finance, right? I was like, oh, I don't know if I should go. Like, this shit's going to cost a lot, blah, blah, blah. And then my homie booked me for this job where I ended up shooting this music video for no money. Like I made like a couple $100, right? So I looked at like, well, why would I go on this trip when I'm going to be able to make money here, which I need right now to stack for whatever my goals were and shit. And I chose to take the music video. Now I had fun doing the music video. It was a good client. So in your case, the headache's already like something I would already kind of consider over everything, but it was fun. It was my friends. I got to make a dope video. It did really well. Got a lot of views or whatever at the time. And that was it. It didn't end up like, that didn't get me more jobs. It didn't like parlay anything. I wasn't really trying to do that shit for that type of artist anyway, but it was good at the time for me to make the money. Now looking back, we've gone on several other bachelor parties. I try to make sure I don't miss any of them from now on. That's the one I regret missing, and I fucking hate that I didn't get to go because there's all these ridiculous inside jokes and all these things about that trip that I wasn't a part of, and I fucking hate that shit. And now as we get older and family members deal with certain shit, or you know what I mean, like who with Joe Larkin's podcast episode, it was just him talking about, at the end of it, we were talking about the ability of missing, having him, he travels with Diplo right now, and he's traveling nonstop all the time, every single weekend. He just missed Thanksgiving, and he got lit up by his sister over it, and it was like hard to deal with, because those you know, sometimes, as he says, it's like you don't know how many of those we have left, you know what I mean, as family members get older and people die or get whatever, like shit becomes brutal. So I don't know, it's up to you. You know your bag more than, or what's in your account more than we do, obviously, and if you need that money, you need that money, but you can't pay to get that memory back with your best friends in Georgia at a car show or whatever the fuck. So I would say, fuck the client.
I would go.
Didn't you make like wasn't there something around something like this where you're like, do I go or do I not go to like a family event or something? You had a job opportunity maybe or something?
I don't know. I always go to the family.
Yeah.
Thing. That's like my motto.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you can never like the two, you know, let's say you're making $500 or $1,000 or whatever, $1,000 you're spending in a month, and whatever, if it's the memory that's gonna last, like if it's the, like, you're, for example, me personally, if it's something where it's like, this isn't gonna happen again, like this matters to me and it matters that I spend this time and make these memories, then like I'm always gonna pick that first, because that things matters more. Those memories last forever.
Right.
You can't go get those experiences back, but you have to consider, like, is this a once in a lifetime opportunity? Does my client relationship with this client matter? Like, will this job prove to be provide me more jobs in the future? Am I putting myself in a bad place with this client if I back out? Because all those things matter more. Like, if, for example,
the pros and cons.
Yes, in 2 weekends, my birthday, it's gonna be like, my birthday's on Wednesday, but my girlfriend's flying in that weekend, right? And if I get offered a job, I'll likely turn it down, because it matters to me more. She doesn't live here, to spend those 3 days with her than to make whatever money that is. Right. Now, if it's like, if someone hits me up and it's an opportunity I cannot turn down, it's gonna be very hard. It's gonna be a very hard decision. And I've had to do it before. But what sucks is when that person flies in and then flies out and a day and a half of it was taken up working, then it ruins that time and you don't get that time back. So
yeah, you gotta deal with those repercussions.
Yeah, so I think you always, the out of work balance is like when it's a Friday night and all the homies are going out drinking, or it's Saturday, or it's just a random day and that thing's gonna happen again and you need to be on your grind mode and you need to be working, then pass it up. You know what to pass up. But if it's that feeling of like, yo, I'm gonna miss out on something huge, then like those memories can't be, you know.
Facts.
Yeah.
Big shout out to everyone who leaves a review on the podcast on iTunes. Each review helps us reach new creators. We like to highlight the best reviews each week and send a set of Black with No Cream stickers to those Black with No Cream members that drop the review. So if you want some stickers, go swing through Apple Podcasts and, you know, sling a review. This one goes to 𝐅𝐎𝐋𝐋𝐿. He said, I listen to this pretty much daily at work. Never a bad episode. Always has at least a few solid things to take from each one. I feel like there's a gang of shit you're going to take from every single episode, but we're cool with that. If you're getting a few, we're happy about that shit. So shout out to you for leaving that 5-star slapper. Shit. We got 200 or some reviews. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's dope. Shout out to everyone that does that. All right, that's it for this episode of the Morning Roast segment. Make sure to check out our latest podcast episode with Ashley Everett, episode 150. Banger. And definitely stay tuned for this Sunday's interview with Joe Larkin. Joe is a creator, shoots videos and directs and edits, and also owns a production company called Curza. Shit, could not think of that. Curza. Low-key sounds like a DJ group. But yeah, he goes into the whole idea of how to balance work and also being a personal creator. There's tons of value that you're going to get out of this episode, so make sure to tune into that. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. We will see you in a few days. You